Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In this one I'm gonna show you how I make this doll. So I'm just gonna try and focus. So he is a beautiful creature with a little music instrument right here, and his friend the rabbit, and he's got 4 arms, as you can see. So we have a little arm here, kind of taking off his hat, and 2 of them playing and 1 doing tricks with the rabbit. So this is like a quick all around look on him. So yeah, we're gonna spend the next 40 minutes. It's a long video, but there was so much that about him that I actually took a lot of the footage out, because the video would have been probably 2 hours, not 40 minutes. So yeah, let's get to the video so you guys can see how I made him as well. And I have a full-on written story of his about his character and who he is. So we will have a video very soon with that as well, which you will probably enjoy after seeing this video. You'll probably be excited to hear his story, because he's actually quite genius, if I can say that. But thank you so much. Enjoy this video. Get yourself a tea because it's a long one, and yeah, I hope you like it. So I'm gonna start by showing you here the armature I usually do. So these thicker ones are for the legs. These 4 ones are for the arms, because he's gonna be having 4 arms. And this one is for the torso. So what I usually do is I twist this torso in like a loop, and I'll secure it to a bottle, so then I can sort of have it upright. Here I'm installing the arms, so just kind of wrap it around and kind of try and make it stay in place, really. I'm a bit out of frame here, and this will happen quite a bit in this video, but I'm bulking on top of the metal wire with aluminium foil, and then I'm shaping and securing everything in place with some paper tape. This is my last actually video recording with a GoPro. I'm not using the GoPro anymore, so the video isn't the best. It's just a bit blurry here and there, but this doll, it's kind of complicated, and although the film is not the best quality, I still wanted to upload so you can see how it was done. So as you see, the torso is still fixed on the that's actually some Liquitex varnish bottle. It's full and it's heavy, so it keeps the whole structure up for me to work on. So here I'm just using some super sculpey, kind of creating a rough layer that will cover the entire shape. And then I'm adding this like more defined, well, just like bigger chunks of clay, so then I can create some more like defined shapes in a way. So just using my sculpting tool. These actually tools are quite good for sculpting. I did sculpt quite a lot without any, but then since I bought them, I got this big one and then have one just like this, just a bit smaller. And they're really all the only tools I'm actually using. I have a dentistry tool which does kind of good, but you'll see me using that one a bit later on. But mostly I do like use only these pointed tools. I know I have quite a lot of tools actually, but I just don't use them, so it's like actually not very good that I bought them, because they only take space. But so here you can see, I'm so sorry this is so blurred, but I promise like this is the last video that I've recorded with the GoPro, so we'll just it'll have to do for this one. But just kind of working a bit more on the texture of the skin. And here is the head. I've actually have some lost footage of this head, because I remember recording it. I don't know what happened to it, or maybe it's somewhere but I didn't find it, so I'm sorry, but you'll see in a bit that the head is kind of simple, but it still took me ages to do. Sometimes I feel like it looks like if you don't do a very human anatomy like face, it would be easier. But then when you actually, because I create all this from my mind, I don't really look at any sort of reference, so then it kind of ends up being harder because you kind of need to make it up as you go, unless you have a drawing. I never have a drawing, but they end up taking me longer than the face that have more like human-like appearance would take me, but it's fun. I love it. So this is a little tongue, and I actually like his teeth a lot. For some reason I don't have a film of that. I don't know. I was all over the place, you guys, with this doll, and this actually doll was started like before the last grandma one with the babies. So this actually doll was started before that. Now, I don't know why it took me so long to make the video, because like even some of the dolls that are already uploaded, they're actually recorded with the beta camera. So this footage is actually from, I think, like December, January time, something like that, because you'll see in a minute these are these are like the last bits of video where I don't have the injury on my hand, and you've already seen a few videos where I have a cut on my hand. Unfortunately, yeah, this is a bit of the video here is actually before, because you can see my right hand actually doesn't have the cut yet. So I think this was already like early January, and you'll see at some point I will have a plaster over, and that was like after I cut my hand, I ended up having a few days of break, and then obviously I was so bored and I can't stay home without doing anything, so I just started to sew the jacket of the doll. So here I'm just sewing the arms, as I said, the sleeves, sorry. So as I said, he's having 4 arms, so therefore I need to do 4 sleeves for his jacket. As you've seen, I've used like a little bit of a drawing pattern. I drew like a pattern for the jacket. I drew it myself. I usually don't even do that, just kind of cut shapes, adjust them as I go, and that's it. But for some reason I decided to be more professional and use a pattern. I don't know, I think I just need to stick to how I'm comfortable, so I don't know if I'm going to use a pattern. This is the second time I used a pattern to like cut and sew any sort of garment. So usually I don't do that, but so yeah, my actually sewing machine broke just before, like after what you just seen the sleeve, that was like the last bit I did with the sewing machine, I think, and here I was just hand stitching everything, but I don't mind, I like doing that. So on the parts of this jacket that I'm not gonna have like a sewing thing, I'm just like using a little bit of glue so we don't have the fabric just like falling apart. This glue actually ends up drying clear, so it's kind of good if you need it for stuff like that. So I was trying to sew the sleeves as tight as I can, because I wanted him to have like this very long slim arms, so it was a pain to try and reverse the sleeve, what I'm doing right now. So I was using just like a chopstick, but they ended up fine, to be honest. So I didn't have to redo, like I usually have to redo certain stuff. But so here I'm using this fur, which I actually shaved down, and it was like the perfect thing to use for this hat I want for him. He's like a Russian sort of character, and I'm actually making a ushanka for him. So is this like what you see here is like a typical sort of Russian hat. Actually, my dad used to have one of them. We're not Russian, but we've been a part of the USSR at some point, so a lot of things in Moldova are similar to in Russia. So actually my dad used to make fur hats, so he would make these ones that would have like the earpiece that you could tie them up or put them down, and it was like an ushanka in a way, but quite cool actually. The ears are a bit off thing because they go more towards the back, but in the front they were covering his face, so I had to just adjust them a little bit more towards the back. So here I'm just attaching the legs. As you've seen, I use some thread to kind of wrap on his legs to create some bulk. Here you can see his jacket on. I don't really have, this video is already so long, so I didn't put a lot of the process. Like you can see the jacket is already done, and I don't really have a video of how I've done it because I don't know, the video would have been like 4 hours long probably. So I took some footage off just because it was just too long. So and yeah, and I'm finally doing the voiceover for this because yeah, it's been a while. So here, as you can see, like this is as well, I'm not the best, you guys, at sewing. I'm not making a pattern. I'm like completely unprofessional about like how I approach making clothes for my dolls, but I like that. I feel like all the mistakes and all, like when I'm trying to do something, the fact that I'm not actually sewing the whole thing and putting on, I end up like these weird pieces of clothing, which makes them like really unique, and I have fun. So sometimes I see videos of people like completely so professional, they'll make like a jacket or a dress and it's just like so professional. It looks like a literally like a piece of clothing for a human, but just like for a doll. And I feel like, oh my god, I look so unprofessional and messy with how I do the clothes. But I don't know, I just have fun with the way I do them. And you know, my dolls are not supposed to, like, you know, you can't take the clothes off, so it just kind of works. I don't know, you guys, it's just, yeah, sometimes I get like a little bit like, oh my god, I'm so unprofessional, but you know, it's my work, so I can be whatever I want with it, I guess. So yeah, I hope it doesn't make anyone cringe the way I kind of make. Like, look at this trouser, like the trousers, because they had that gap in the middle, because I didn't even freaking measure it almost, like only the legs, make sure they will fit. So it ended up having like this piece in the front that you can see now with the buttons, and I would never in a million years think to make this shape. So the fact that I just make it on the go, I end up with like this weird clothing thing, which it's like it's a one-off, you know. I don't know, I think it's something special. I enjoy a lot. So here is just using a piece of the same this is actually very good fabric. This black thing is very like I forgot how you call this. Oh my god, it's not like velvet. This is not velvet. Is it velvet? But it's very good quality. Actually, this is some leftover from some the fabric that I bought to make some curtains for the studio. And this I ended up like with some kind of big chunks of leftover fabric, so I used that for this. The only bad thing about it is that it's not stretchy, so I had to struggle a bit with making the sleeves and the trousers very snug, because it was just hard, they wouldn't stretch, so I had to make them quite loose so they would still fit. But it's very, very good quality. So actually in real life it looks so expensive, like it's just very beautiful fabric. So yeah, and some pieces of brown leather there that you can see I've used for this belt as well. I didn't have a plan how to make the belt. I never even draw my dolls. I don't know what I'm doing. I have a kind of an idea of a thing, and then it just kind of creates itself almost. It's I find the process of me making dolls very very interesting for myself. Like for me, it's a very special process. I feel like the doll almost like creates itself. I don't know, it's just thing, just is a nice process. I enjoy it so much. And I should really talk about, I think I'll make a video of how I actually started to get into making dolls and how I ended up making the dolls I'm doing now, because I went through different phases. I think I'm just gonna have like a doll from every single phase I went through to get to the ones I'm doing right now. So yeah, and this is just a piece of latex that you see that I'm using just to like attach his, I don't know what is that, I don't know how you call these things. As I said in a video before, I really need to Google some words before starting to do the voiceover, but for some reason I never do. Anyways, forgive me, you kind of see what is, so leave the name for them in the comment. So yeah, I am using almost as a glue for whatever I do on a doll. I usually use super glue, but if you never work with super glue, it's probably not a good idea. It can be very messy and it can ruin your project. So I mean, I'm so good with it now that I'm like so precise. I don't think I've ever ruined anything. But on this, like if you do more exquisite jobs or something you've worked a lot on, maybe just be careful on using super glue on a project like that. So here I'm just doing the usual painting job on the skin parts, and just using some watered down acrylic colors, and I'm gonna be using some pastels for a little bit of tinting, but for now I'm just using like almost like a wash from a light of a light brown and a little bit of red to just give the skin a little bit more life. So here I'm actually using a Urban Decay eyeshadow. I bought it for myself a few years ago, but I think I'm a little bit allergic to it, so I stopped using it, and now it's perfect for blushing. The dolls is such a good color. So here I'm actually painting the mouth before gluing on the teeth, because then this is actually a good tip, because sometimes if you're gonna do the teeth and then you can't really go between them to get to the inside of the mouth. So here you can just see I'm painting the eye as well. I wanted to use a polymer clay eye, so the eye is already there without me having to draw the iris and the pupil and stuff like that. But what I had at home, they were just too small, so I had to just like draw it on. But I'm sorry, it's very blurred here, but you'll have some really good quality pictures at the end of this video, so you'll see how that looks in like actually how it looks, because here is just so blurred, the detail is just not there at all. So here I just decided to make like a target sort of on his chest for absolutely no reason. I just wanted something on his chest. I thought about putting on him a tie, and then I thought about putting a bow, but then I went through, actually I thought I would draw some tattoos on it. I am a tattoo artist as a day-to-day job. That's what I do. So there is actually an introduction video vlog on who I am and what I do and stuff like that. So if you want to watch that, if you're curious, you can do that. I'm just gonna put the link in the description to it, and you'll see it popping up here in a minute. So you can watch that. But yeah, I thought I'm gonna do some tattoos on him, but then it kind of, I don't know, just this target idea really stuck with me. But I do want to make a doll with tattoos, because it's like, I don't know, I feel like I won't do them well for some reason. I'm a good tattooist, if I can say that, and I've been doing it for about 10 years, but it kind of intimidates me to make like tattoos on a doll. I don't know. I'll have to do it. I just think I'll hate it, so I'll end up like just hating the doll. But I should probably try maybe just like a small one and then kind of work. So yeah, here, as you can already see, I've got my hand bandaged, and I've had it bandaged now for quite a bit of the video. I just forgot to mention it. But this is, I think, is like the third day of me actually already working on the doll after I had the injury. I've cut my hand really, really badly on washing a glass. It was made from very, very thin crystal glass, and it's just a whole chunk just went underneath the skin and into my hand, so it was really bad. But yeah, so yeah, here you can see I had a very hard time keeping the wrapping on. It would fall off, so I'm sorry if it's too gross, but here you can see a little bit of how my wound looked. I think this is about 4th or 5th day after the injury itself. So it was kind of still hard for me to like do what I'm doing even now. Like I could feel the pain, but I can't stay, do nothing. They said don't do anything for like a week, but so here I've actually used some hot glue to shape his legs, which was a very, very good technique. I didn't want to use clay because first of all, I needed something quick. I wanted to make the shoes that evening, and clay would have taken too long to dry if I would take like something like epoxy clay or something. So, I mean, yeah. Hot glue is actually really good. The first time I did it, but this is like a good tip. So I'm just using this leather to do the sole and to do the rest of the boot. So he's going to be having green boots. So this is a very easy technique on how I make some shoes. I've done shoes like that for other dolls too. So kind of just like cut shapes, and this is actually, like you can see, this is the front one. You'll see in the base, like literally you need 4 pieces of leather. So the sole, which I already put it on, and then you have that piece that with the tongue that goes up, and then you have this front piece, and then you have one at the back. So it's super easy, and I think you end up with some really cool looking boots. I mean, you can always elevate the design and change and stuff, but I was really happy. I wanted him to have like really proper, like chunky sort of boots, and I love this green as well. I think it matches very good with the color palette on him. So yeah, just using some super glue. I mean, honest to God, just if you can use anything else except super glue, do. But I don't trust anything except super glue. Like that thing just holds everything in place. I see a lot of doll customizer users using a lot of hot glue for certain things. So like for what I'm using now, I've put super glue. They would use hot glue, which yeah does the job as well. But what I don't like about using on dolls hot glue is because hot glue has a lot of bulk to it. So when you pull like a drop, like it's just gonna leave like a bump. So I use hot glue, but things like for the hair, sometimes if she's gonna have like a hat or something, and then gluing big stuff together. But for like stuff like that, I had to be very precise there. And literally, if I would have used if I would have used hot glue, it would have been a mess. So that's the reason why I'm using a lot of super glue on the dolls, because it's so thin and it's so strong that it's just like, I didn't find anything better until now, to be really honest. So here you can see the part that I'm putting at the back, which is literally just like a piece, just like a piece of leather that goes from the back and kind of just creates the part in the front where the laces are gonna be. I'll show you in a minute that as well. So I'm just using this tool to just push it in. But the only issue I had here, I had to make a leg bent, but I forgot that that's how I want the position of him to be. So I had to actually mold one foot into like a bent thing, because he's actually standing on a knee. It's not a problem. I still like how it looks, but if I'd go back, I would make the shape of the foot in like a bent position. You'll see in a minute. So here I'm just using this tool to make some holes for the laces. So you can see like that's the piece I put from the back, so it kind of wraps a bit in the front, so it gives you that extra space for the laces. So I haven't even seen this shape. Like I literally just came up with, like, I was thinking, how can I do these boots to just like be simple, effective, and looking nice. So I don't know, it just happened. So this is another piece of leather I'm just putting on top to just make like a little bit of a heel, really. Yeah, just using the same super glue to put in place. Super glue actually glues leather really good, but it will release some fumes, so just be aware of that if you're gonna use it. Usually super glue has some quite toxic fumes when it comes in contact with fabric as well. So paper and stuff usually no, but it doesn't glue paper very well. But with fabric or thread, leather, it just you can see actually these fumes, like it's just like a water, like a white thing coming up. So just be careful. If you can wear something to protect you breathing it in, or just kind of just saying be careful. And also you have working time like 5 seconds because it goes hard. So yeah, that's why I say if you can use anything else except super glue, do that. I just ended up learning how to use it correctly, and it works for me, but I wouldn't really recommend it. So you can see, like, the boots are so cool. I was so happy with it. Like, I'm even looking now and I'm like, oh my god, that's so cute. Because it is. It's so late I'm making. I'm actually, it's not so late, but I don't know. I've been so tired this last week, honest to God. We started work and I feel like I just can't get back into my normal routine. But I was really excited to post this video, so I've been working on it for the last few days. So here I'm actually just using like a piece of this crochet sort of, this is actually thread for cross stitching actually, but I used it for the crochet sort of vest I made for the grandma doll. So it worked for the laces too. So here is his little boot. And what I'm doing here, oh okay, well, oh my god, you guys, this doll was almost finished and I mean, every single sculptor, someone that makes sculptures, we all hate making hands. Hands are hated by painters, I hate painting hands, but I love hands as a thing. It's so hard to just like, you either get them right straight away or you're gonna have the worst nightmare trying to get them right. And when I thought, oh, it'll be very, very good to make like 4 arms, I did not think I need to make 4 hands. Yeah. So when I realized, like, I realized when I did the jacket, because it had like, I put the jacket on and it had this little stumps of like this, the armature just poking out from the sleeves. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to do 4 hands. So that was just like very sad. And I tried to leave it like for the very end. So here is how I do the armature for the hands. He's gonna have like 4 fingers, because he's like a monster. So if I'm doing like more of a monster creature, I like to do like 4 fingers, sorry. So here you see, I think his hands are some of my favorites. It took me a while, to get to make hands nicely, and I think my hands are now so recognizable, like they kind of look the same. I don't know, maybe it's only me who can see that, but I like, oh my god, I know straight away that I made these hands, which is, I don't know, they just have like this distinctive thing somehow. So yeah, like I love his hands. It's probably my favorite ones that I've made, to be honest. But yeah, it was a bit hard to try and keep them like the same size as well. So what I wanted to say is, like, it took me so long to make hands right. It's actually something that I struggled with quite a lot. These 4 hands now are probably the easiest that I've ever done. Actually, the doll before this, the grandma with all the babies on her back, like that was okay with the hands too. Like I didn't really struggle with that, but yeah. So here they are all baked, and I'm using the same sort of colors and acrylics I did for the rest of the body. So I'm just kind of just going over them, you know, adding some spots, just so it looks more like natural skin. Something I did not do with this doll, it's spraying it with Mr. Super Clear, which is like a sealant that you do at the end on the flesh parts, on the sculpture itself. It's finished, and I completely forgot to order more. So I will probably spray his head, because I can remove the hat and wrap in plastic the whole of his body, and because it's a spray, so if it gets to the clothing or something, it will leave like a little bit of like a residue in a way. So yeah, so I probably will. With the hands as well, I have 3 free hands, so I might spray the hands, but one of the hands is going to hold a rabbit, and the rabbit is already, I think it's glued on the hand, so I don't think, but it doesn't matter. Usually even this acrylic job, it stays on very well even without a sealant, so that won't be really a problem. To be honest, they're very much display pieces, so even if someone at some point buys them, they won't be touched to the point that the paint is just gonna come off. I mean, acrylics, they're quite good at staying on, but I'll still probably spray them. I'll do my best. So here I'm just attaching the hands. I pull the sleeve a bit back, and I'm just kind of using these pliers in a way to just kind of really get it so you can see it stays on really, really well, because you don't want them falling off. So here you can have a little bit of a look how the jacket is in the back. Like I ended up making his other hands. I first thought to make the hands from like coming out from the side of his ribs, so underneath his first set of arms, not hands, but then it was looking too busy and the jacket would have looked weird, so I ended up kind of making them coming out from his back, which is more like a sort of like a spider situation. Actually, these scissors I'm using here now, I freaking lost them not long ago. I think this was the last video I've used them in. Oh no, I didn't. After that, yes, because I did the grandma. I'm so sad. I don't know where they are, and like they're so cool. Like I hope I found them. I hope I just didn't bin them somewhere. I don't know. I can't find them. I've been looking for them for like about 2 months now. So I'm using a lot of fire, like a lighter. You'll see me using a lighter in a lot of my videos. It's usually to just a lot of this lace and like this piece that I'm using now. They're not all natural, so usually a lighter will just seal the ends so they don't it doesn't end up like falling apart. Especially when you work with little pieces, you need to try to seal the edges. So the fire usually does a good job of melting a bit, and that thing just kind of gets stuck to each other, so it's not just gonna fall apart. So that's a good tip as well if you didn't know, or you're curious why I'm using a lighter all the time. So this is just some more details to the sleeves. You guys, I love this doll so much. I just can't explain how much I love it. Actually, the voiceover for this video was meant to be a story that I wrote about him. I've actually wrote a story. I thought I'm gonna write like 5 sentences, and I ended up writing like 2 A4 pages. And I thought to read the story as a voiceover for this video, but it's only the first draft, and I need to read it and kind of adjust it in places a little bit, correct and add or take off some stuff, and that will take me another probably like it'll probably be ready by next week, and I really wanted to upload this video as soon as possible, so I will post the story separate. So I'll make a video with just the story of him, and to make it interesting, I don't even know how to make interesting. So leave your comments like what should be the video, because it has to have something. I think only pictures of him won't work. I obviously can't do like a stop motion film because that will take ages, and um, maybe just recording myself how I read it. I don't know. Give me some ideas, because the only idea I had is making as a voiceover on top of this, like on this video, but obviously I'm not doing that. So here is just I decided to make him like a little rabbit, which the rabbit is in the story as well. So here I'm just kind of making this little toy, stuffed toy, my first miniature stuffed toy. They ended up looking so cute, you'll see in a minute. So yeah, this roll was quite painful to make because of the hand. But it's one of my most detailed. It's not as detailed as the grandma, the sort of, well, she's not really a grandma, but the old woman with all the babies on her back and stuff like that. I think that one was the most detailed, but still, I mean, this one is like detailed. It's got so much stuff going on, and it was kind of hard. It was just very painful to sew at some point. I didn't really take any painkillers for my hand because I'm not really good at taking painkillers. They just make me feel a certain way. So in a way, I just like had to just kind of take and be careful on how much I stress my hand. And I feel like I had the wound didn't heal as quick because I went to take some stitches out and the wound just split open. And it could have been because I started to use it a bit too soon, but it's all right. I have a beautiful scar right now, and yeah, my hand will never be the same again, but you know, who cares? It's more important what I can do with it than how it looks. So yeah, but yeah, it's kind of just when I was editing this video and I seen the part where I still didn't have the scar, it was like, oh my god, I had, because I'm used to doing the way now. I mean, it still doesn't feel like it's a part of me, and it still hurts to touch, and I still have my finger numb, so I'm still aware of like being new and trying to get used to it. But I looked at my hand without it, and I'm like, oh my god, I had a hand without the scar before. It's just like it just hit me a little bit. It was a little bit like for a second I got a bit emotional for a second. So here I'm just like doing this cross for the eye. I tinted a little bit to make it distressed with some acrylics, and just look how cute it is now. I love it so much. I think it's just perfect. Like, I don't know what I was going for, but the way it ended up, it was really cool. So here I'm actually using this tiny crochet needle, and I'm making a scarf for him. It's like a long thin scarf. I just wanted something like very, like, I don't know, is it kind of French? Just takes me with like this, the French wear like scarves and stuff. I thought it's just gonna be a little bit of like sophistication for him, you know, because he's like this weird, you know, rough looking Russian ringmaster, and I thought this scarf will just like add a little bit of style, you know. I like my dolls to be a little bit of, you know, stylish, like the way Vasily, the sad clown, he has like this, you know, pink coat, like jacket. Like, why not? You know, let them have a little bit of sass, a little bit of something. So this was the point of the scarf. So here is a garmoshka that I'm doing. It's a very typical sort of musical instrument in Russia, very traditional. So I actually Googled how to make a garmoshka origami, and they found this video that, oh god, took me a while to. So this is the first one. The second one, the first attempt wasn't good, and then I kind of watched how to do this paper thing in the middle, And then the box on the sides and stuff, I'm kind of referencing a real garmoshka, and then I'm kind of trying to, I don't know, use, like as you see, in a piece of cardboard, or some pieces of wood, and this is epoxy sculpt that I'm just kind of yeah, so you can see on my phone on the side there is a little picture, so I'm kind of just looking at that, and then I went with this pattern, kind of trying to make it fancy just from my head, because I don't know, I wanted to make it very, very fancy. So yeah, this is I'm using some epoxy glue, epoxy sculpt. So the day after that was hardened, and I'm using acrylics to just start to paint it, make it cool, make it fancy. And I had so much fun with this. Like my mom loved as well, because I always send her pictures of the progress and stuff, and she was like, oh my god, if there was something you didn't do until now, it was this. Like she couldn't believe it. But look, that paper just painted in black, it's so like, oh my god, it's so cool. Like you can't even tell it's paper, it looks so good in real life. um so actually I went for a black with like red and green and yellow and blue, because this is a very sort of typical combination for East Europe as well, of colors. Like we have a lot of our traditional rugs or like scarves that people wear, like in the traditional costumes as well, that are like black with like bright red, with bright red, usually yellow, green, and blue. So I kind of tried to keep the same color theme, which I just think it's so like, is a bit as well like more, I would say, that side, in that side of the world as well, we have a lot of like, I don't even, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just like, it's just a typical color combination for that part of the world. Like I'm from Moldova, so you kind of see the same sort of color things in traditional stuff, in Romania, in Ukraine, in Russia, I think Bulgaria, Hungary, I think as well. So it's like something typical, that these colors are very much like what you would expect to see um, in anything traditional, really. So I'm using some like gold thing to just brush on top, and I'm using some varnish on that wood bit, because I just wanted to be a bit more shiny. And as you can see, I've put a strip of leather there as well. You'll see that kind of adjusts and holds on the, this is a piece of something, I don't even know what that is, that I used to put on the base, as you can see. So see, here is like that, this photo that I'm painting with some of that diorama mud. It's, I wish I would have done it bent, but, and I'm using the same mud as you've seen this, you have seen me using this mud, Vallejo mud for dioramas. It's absolutely amazing if you want mud for your dolls or dioramas. And I use actually this mud almost for all of my dolls when I want to create like a distress, worn, dirty look, because I kind of do this to all of my dolls. So I'm just brushing this over. It dries like acrylic. It dries really quick, unless it's like thick layer, you need to leave it overnight. But it's absolutely, I cannot say enough, is one of my top 3 things that I've discovered since I'm doing this craft. Like it's so good for a lot of things. So I'm just kind of dirtying everything. So I'll be on the rabbit, I'll be on his jacket. I've used tons on the base, like on the floor where he's standing as well. So just kind of a little bit here and there. So thank you so much, you guys, for your time watching this video. If you liked it, please consider to subscribe. If you are a new viewer, make sure to check my channel. There is quite a few videos of the same sort of content like this one. And consider to leave a comment if you don't know what to say, or you're not very inspired. Just leave a black heart. That's usually my signature everywhere online, so I do love when people leave a black heart. So yeah, do that and have a nice day, and I will see you in the next video.